Well, good morning, friends. I finally finished my tomato garden, and I thought we'd just share with you today the setup and walk you through how this little rascal works. We'll be right back after the break. Well, welcome back, friends. I can't wait to get started on my tomatoes this year, and if y'all, some of you subscribers that's been with us for several years, I'm sure these tomato cages look very familiar to you from Virginia, and they work so well for me. I've been using these type of cages for 20 years, and I've had tremendous success with it, so I didn't see any reason to change them. So anyway, I made these racks. I used some two pressure treated 2x4s to build these, and I've got the little construction sketches. We'll put a JPEG of that on our Facebook page, as well as our community tab on our YouTube channel. So if you want to build some of these for yourself, I highly recommend them. They've done great for me. And for those of you that have never seen them before, a little history of these things is I've been through all kinds of different support systems that I'd come up with for my tomatoes. I've used rebar and 2x2 and the wire cages you can buy at these nursery centers, and I've used all that. And once the tomatoes start to get up pretty big, the plants are pretty heavy, they get the fruit heavily laden with fruit. It never fails. A thunderstorm would come by or a heavy rain, and those plants would just bend that support system right over, and it would oftentimes kink the tomato plants and just ruin them. And that's just heartbreaking after you put so much work into those tomatoes to come out and they're laying all over the ground. But anyway, after many trial and errors with several different systems, I came up with this 2x4 system that I've been using for years, and man, these things never fail me. These tomato plants will come all the way up through the top of these. They cascade out and they hang out through the cage. They're easy to get to, and they will not fail. So I've really had a lot of success with these. Now, a little bit about our new garden. If you'll remember, up in Virginia, we only had 4 cages, and I mean, we had an abundance of tomatoes. But down here in Florida, we've got family members that are close by, and Nancy's mama lives down here just 15 minutes up the road from us now, and she just loves tomatoes. And a tomato's a favorite garden vegetable that everybody loves, and you just love to share them with people, and they're so thankful when you share them a beautiful vine ripened homegrown tomatoes. It's just nothing better than a tomato sandwich to me. But anyway, we're going to have plenty of tomato sandwiches and fried green tomatoes. But we ended up putting in 8 of these racks, and this time I've spaced them out. They're about 15 feet apart, and the reason I did that is I want plenty of circulation around all these tomatoes. If you jam your tomatoes up and they're real tight and the plants are growing together, you're just inviting all kinds of problems with mildew and other plant problems with disease. Give them plenty of ventilation and give them space to cascade out and grow the way they want to grow. We'll go into how to prune these and all this on some of our tomato videos that are coming up soon, but these racks being spaced out 15 feet apart gives it plenty of flow-through ventilation. I've also encased each of my tomato cages with a frame around them to retard some of that grass encroachment coming into the bed itself. So that makes it easy to maintain, and I can keep out the grass from growing up around it, and I can put some chopped straw on top of this after I get my tomato in here to kind of keep the weeds, retard the weed growth, which is always in the plus column if I can do anything to eliminate some of my maintenance, labor. So that's what we want to do. Another thing that I've done on this that I'm really excited about is we've installed an irrigation system, which I didn't have in Virginia. I had, you know, the sprinklers that, you know, the impact sprinklers that just trickle down like rain on top of them. And, you know, that's always a problem with your tomatoes because you don't want to really get the leaves wet because that's just inviting mildew. So these sprinkler nozzles that I've used down here are what they call a bubbler. They're specifically for trees and shrubs. And they'll put out 2 gallons per minute of water flow on each of these planters. And it's a small head that puts out a circular pattern that shoots down at the ground, not up. So it's from the nozzle down, and it only goes out in about a 2 foot pattern. So it's directly watering the roots and not getting my leaves wet. And that's a big important feature of these tomato cages. And I've hooked up a manifold over here, and at the manifold I can just open one single valve and I can water all 8 of these at one time and turn it off when I want. So that's really great for me because I used to have to come through and, you know, either use a sprinkler or I'd have to stick a hose down and hand water each plant, which is time consuming, and time is of the essence on a 15-acre homestead. I mean, I got to make everything as fast as possible to get through my chores, or I'll be just doing chores all day, and I got to save room for fishing. So anyway, we're going to be watering these so that one opening of one valve gets the job done. I can run off and do another chore and come back in about 15 minutes and turn it off, and they're good for the day. So that's, to me, a great thing. Now, a lot of people over the years have always said, oh my gosh, you've got to rotate your crops. You can't plant tomatoes in the same place over and over. I agree with that to a certain degree, and remind you, I've done this for over 20 years with no problem. But what I do is I'll remove my irrigation leg that's sticking into there. I can just disconnect a union and take that nozzle right out of the way. I'll dig a hole down there and dig out all the old soil that I used the year before and dig me a new hole and discard that soil. I don't put it back in. Then I put brand new fresh container mix that I make up, and we'll put in fish in the hole and all that stuff. We'll show you how to do that when we start doing our tomato videos here shortly. But basically what I'm doing instead of rotating the crops is I'm rotating the soil out, and I get all that soil out as good as I can, pretty wide. And if there's any kind of disease or virus that may have been in the plants at all, I pretty much got it. And I've never really had a problem with doing it this way. So it's up to you. This is just my system. I like doing this because I can set these cages up, and it's a permanent garden. I can come back to the same place every year and have tremendous success with it. So just wanted to share this with you today. I thought you would like to see how the garden's coming together, and I can't wait to bring you some beautiful tomato videos here in the very near future. So till me and Nancy see you in the spring, we'll always be thankful for the Lord for everything He gives us, even tomato cages. So we'll see you very soon. I hope our videos bring a smile to your face and joy to your heart. So until we see you next time, always remember, by His hands we are fed. Give us, Lord, our daily bread. Amen.
Have a blessed day.